وآل محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا شيخنا.
May Allah bless you.
Thank you so much for choosing this topic in a time where the dominant slogan is everybody is entitled to his opinion. So we need this wisdom. Sheikhna, do we have time for questions and
Yes.
later greetings, inshallah?
Yeah. Maybe 10 minutes question, 10 minutes greetings, inshallah.
Inshallah.
The line was okay?
Yes, perfect. Jazakumullah khairan.
May Allah bless you.
If anyone has a question, you can go ahead and unmute, and if there are more than one person.
Salamun alaikum. I hear a nice voice.
Jazakumullah khair. This is Ibrahim.
MashaAllah. Ibrahim.
He is.
Yeah.
Salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Allah.
May Allah protect.
So if there's anyone who has a question about consultation, you can go ahead and raise your hand.
I think now for asking questions, they consult.
Yes, they probably consulting this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, sister?
Thank you so much. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Sheikh,
It's my hay fever, you know.
So, Sheikh, I have a question that if there is any matter where consultation is not needed.
Something that you have already consulted for, or something very simple, something that overall there is not possibility of big loss or big profit. For example, I go to a shop, I want to buy some, I don't know, some yogurt. There can be different things, and they are reliable, they have health check, everything. And here maybe I can try, I don't need to consult. Although even here I can consult, it's fine, but it's not necessary. But if I want to buy a car, it's good to consult, because I may buy a car and then regret. If I want to buy a house, I need to consult more. If I want to choose a subject for a study in university, for job, for marriage. So depending on their significance, it can be not needed, it can be recommended, highly recommended, it can be necessary, it can be then vital.
Thank you, Sheikh.
May Allah bless you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Sheikhna, can I ask questions?
Sure.
What can be some of the maybe psychological obstacles or even spiritual obstacles to seeking advice?
Sometimes people feel shy to consult. Sometimes even for consulting they don't feel confident. But sometimes also there are people who are arrogant and they don't consult. They think they know enough. So people are not consulting for different reasons. Sometimes people are also not experienced and they don't know the value of consultation. People who are more experienced, more knowledgeable, wiser, they are actually doing more mashwara than people who are not at that level. So there is a wide range of reasons why people don't do mashwara. Especially when it comes to something socio-political, something about community, about the nation. For example, you are a politician, maybe you have been voted for also, maybe you lead the party, but it doesn't mean that you should trust your own judgment. You must always do mashwara, and there must be actually a system for such people, a process which is systematic for mashwara. They should never, get excited and say something in front of people or camera without this being checked by the advisors and people who do mashwara. And inshallah, we will talk about what are the conditions of the people that we consult. You cannot consult people that they are afraid of disagreeing with you, or they are so much in love with you that whatever you say, they say yes, that's great. You should consult people who have opinion, who are rational, and who are brave to disagree, to express their opinions.
Thank you, Sheikh. Jazakumullah khairan.
Allah bless
There's
you.
a written question from Brother Muntazar. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum assalam.
How long should you continue consultation, or how many people to consult?
As much as you reach clarity. It depends on the topic, on the situation. Sometimes consulting one person is enough. Sometimes you have to consult 3-4 people because it's very complicated. Sometimes maybe even more. So it depends. If I want to especially embark on something which is not already been practiced by others, something whose future consequences are not known. Imagine the Hose, for example. I want to establish a new school with new methodology, or use new textbooks. Here, because it is something against a current which has been going on for decades or centuries, I need to do lots of mashwara.
Ahsantum, Sheikhna.
May Allah bless you.
I'm just going to read some written messages in
Yes.
case other brothers and sisters have questions. And then inshallah, if there are no more questions, then we'll transition to greetings. Sister Diane says, thank you so much, Sheikhna.
May Allah
May
bless you.
Allah grant you afiyah and tawfiq.
Thank you.
And bring peace to your affairs, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
I think Sister Razavi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah for the webinar. Unable to join greetings at the moment. Salam to everyone.
Alaykum assalam.
And Brother Masoud Hussein says, Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you for speaking on this topic and its significance. I remember you discussed this topic in the series of practical wisdom in the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
Amen.
Sister Inshal Begun just messaged saying, Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh.
Alaykum
and your
assalam wa
family." Very important and needed information. Thank you very much for today's lecture and all
My
the
pleasure.
teachings. Please keep us in your du'as.
May Allah bless you. Thank you.
So inshallah, we'll, if there's no other questions, and if Sheikh, you don't have anything to add, we can transition to greetings.
Inshallah.
If
And
you still have
inshallah,
time.
we should talk about this issue also. I mention now so that I don't forget that unfortunately sometimes children don't seek the advice, even if they don't obey, but at least they should seek advice of their parents. As a mashwara at least. But it seems that sometimes some youths, some teenagers, they prefer either to follow their peers, or if they do mashwara, they do mashwara with their peers only. And this is not helpful. Inshallah, we will talk about whom we should consult, but I thought I raise it now so that if I forget, you can remind me to talk about this issue, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh. This is a vital point actually, because I mean, we've noticed also and personal experience that peers can really not be equipped
Exactly.
to kind of counsel the person who's especially at that very vulnerable age. So very, very important point and very vital.
And you know, sometimes this is also a second point. Inshallah, I hope we can expand on this. You know, if I have opinion, still I benefit from people who have opinion or people who have no opinion. I can benefit. For example, imagine I am an expert on tarbiyah. There is no harm in me discussing this with people who are not experts, ordinary parents, or even children. I can discuss with them. If I have a project, I can seek their opinion. But because I have opinion, I am a scholar in that field, I'm expert in that field, I know what to ignore and what to benefit from. But if I don't have opinion and then I consult with the people who have no opinion, then there is a great chance that I will be confused. So sometimes some youths consult people who are like themselves, not better. And this is just lack of experience added to lack of experience, and this can create problems, or at least is not helpful. The minimum is that it's not helpful. So we should consult people that have some experience, have some trainings, have some scholarly background. When I say a scholar, I don't mean Islamic scholar in any field. Some scientific background. Okay. I hope inshallah we can discuss these things.
Jazakallah khairan.
I am like a kind of restaurant. I am telling you that we have these things on menu, so inshallah remember in future order them.
Inshallah, and
if you don't order, we don't cook them. Yeah.
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykhna, and thank you so much for honestly your generosity.
Yeah, Allah bless you.
It's more than an open buffet, and it really depends on our capacity. So inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our capacity and our ability to benefit from these sessions. Sister Fatma Ali has raised her hand, so
yes. There must be a reason.
Yes. I think she's seeking consultation.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sister?
Good, thank you so much. I apologize, I wasn't able to join from the start of this session. I had mubahata with the youth. I have one question that's related to this topic, and then I have something else I want to ask if there's time. But in terms of, particularly here in North America, I think there's some areas where we lack people who are experts in specific fields, particularly in counseling, maybe social work, areas like that. And we're starting to occupy those spaces more, but we're lacking. So many times the consultation has to go to people either of no faith or of another faith, and who don't understand, the different traditions and things which are important to Muslim families. So I know a lot of families, this idea of children being removed from their homes by social services is something which is becoming more and more prevalent. And then in terms of consulting, a lot of times it's with people who are not familiar with it, like I said, Islamic tradition. So, is that something that potentially you can speak about how families can navigate that environment? Because it's becoming more of a challenge, and then even one of the youth had mentioned how this is something that's in one specific community. It's they're seeing this more and more, where children are being removed from the families, being placed in foster homes, and the system is set up where there's not a lot of Islamic resources.
Yes. So actually, in the last several years, one of the things I'm emphasizing in our institute in Qom is to train our sheikhs for counseling, because they have some knowledge, but they need also some special skills and knowledge for counseling. And I think it doesn't have to be always scholars, but scholars too should be prepared, maybe teachers, maybe all the parents to some level. So it has to become part of our community building, that in community we need to have such people. Even we should be in a position to offer Islamic counseling to non-Muslims. Maybe a non-Muslim who has tried everything and didn't work, finds a good Muslim counselor, can try and see how they approach. Like, now people go for some Eastern, sometimes, spirituality, or, meditations, etc. And it's common. Even Muslims go for this. Why it shouldn't become common that people go to Muslims for meditation, for, counseling, benefiting from their wisdom, without necessarily becoming a Muslim.
Right, a good point.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask one other thing, which is, I think, slightly off topic. In terms of building a deeper level of social alaya within the community,
Yes.
one of the stumbling blocks is that I think people try to there's this idea where people sometimes don't want to reach out to their brothers and sisters because there's a point of safeguarding my honor and my dignity.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the point of I don't want to bother other people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How do we break through this? I don't know what to call it, but how do we break through this where there's not this barrier in terms of feeling that we can't go to each other, especially when there is already an established relationship.
Yeah.
But when it comes to reaching out to one another because I have a need, I actually need help, but then I stay quiet and I go through the issue by myself because I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to burden anyone else. If you have any insight on that, it would be great.
Thank you. If something is, for example, physical, if something is financial, for example, I don't know, something that you can manage yourself and there is no risk. The maximum is that, for example, is more tiring, more challenging for you. So here you may try to not to be a burden on others, unless they are very close people that they may feel bad if you don't involve them. They say, you didn't trust us or you didn't feel close to us to ask us for help. But when it comes to things which are mental, psychological, spiritual, Here, we shouldn't have that kind of approach that if I do it myself and don't trouble others is better. Because here there is a chance that you may not find the best way to deal with this alone, or you may run out of energy and then resort to things which are not good or which are not useful. So you have to find a balance, not to be always relying on others, even for small things, and not being always independent and not letting people know and help you, even for big things. The balance is important, especially when there is risk of losing the patience or losing the guidance or losing the right way of engagement with the problems.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
May Allah bless you.
Jazakumullah khairan. I think Sister Razali has her hand on. I think it's a sister, so my apologies if it's brother, but inshallah it's going to be the last question we take that.
Alaikum Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, sister?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much.
Inshallah, you have health. You have hay fever, I think.
Yes, I have hay fever, yeah.
Yes. It was just a quick comment about what Sister Fatima was saying about the problem with our, especially youth, going to the non-Muslim counsellors and this peer consultation. Maybe in the UK we've got a bit more experience now because, as you yourself know, a lot of the young people are being encouraged to take counselling courses and become psychotherapists. So we have a lot of our younger Muslim generation now who are in this field, so that you can now find. So maybe this is something that should be encouraged. Maybe it wasn't a career choice in the past. And also for the fostering, they're really encouraging the Muslim community to consider fostering children who really can't stay in their homes even just for a few months, so that Muslim families will take them on rather than them going to social services in general. And social services will actually then ask if there's a Muslim child for a Muslim foster family, because they're available. But it means that we have to be proactive, either in going to take training or in offering, our help. I think you saw this in the UK with the therapists meeting.
Yes.
There's a lot more of, especially Muslim sisters, getting into this field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Is this a solution? This is the solution, is it, for?
Yeah, it can help.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's important that those who are trained, they are not only secularly trained. They are Muslims, but sometimes just secularly trained. But I know that there are some programs for Islamic counseling also.
Yeah, and also that the people training are practicing Muslims who care, because there seems, from the sisters I've spoken to, a therapist, there is quite, they are quite able to bring Islam, when they're counselling a Muslim, they're able to bring Islam into things, So they need to be knowledgeable themselves. Then they're not monitored so much that they can't do this. They are able to advise Islamically, and even if there isn't yet a formal Islamic counselling training.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe you were there, I don't know. This topic of mashwara was one of the first topics I discussed with the therapists.
Yeah.
So for, I think, maybe 3 years, 4 years, we had meetings with some therapists in London. And even once we did Dua Makarim al Akhlaq for KLC, but another time with them. Yeah, but yeah, it's a great area and lots of work should be done to have, inshallah, a holistic understanding.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Zainab. Just as an idea, Sheikhna, and also to benefit from your guidance later as well, is to establish maybe like an SOS line because a lot of these consultations and also because of things I've been exposed to are required really urgently. When we talk about the child services and stuff like that, a lot of the families that are confronted with this reality require guidance very, very early on, because the lack of experience and just not being prepared, or because it really comes from a blind spot usually. There's kind of they need consultation. So maybe if we establish something, and the KLC being international,
Yes.
I think we can maybe think about that in a certain way, that at least the members can benefit, and if we can scale this to different communities, it would be very, very useful going forward, just as an idea maybe. Jazakumullah khairan.
Yeah, it's important, but I don't know how much we can cope with something. Maybe it's
Absolutely.
limited to KLC families, for example. Yeah, we can think about it.
Inshallah. Just as an idea, exactly.